Greetings Exiles to one of my best Cyclone builds of all times. Not because this one has some top-notch DPS with some very expensive items, but because this one achieves multiple hundreds of Exiles worth of performance for just a fraction of the price. We are talking about an average of 15 Exiles here. Now I know that you can make a functional Cyclone build for even cheaper, however this one hits the sweet spot for the best possible performance gain for each Exalted Orb spent. So, if you are interested, then this build guide is just about to start. As always, we begin with our Ascendancy. We are a Slayer for multiple reasons. The first one is that we need to stack as much AoE as possible to make Cyclone feels good to play, and Impact Node gives us just that. We also get a decent amount of accuracy and 15% more damage alongside that as well. Next we have Bane of Legends. This node is a massive damage boost against bosses, especially those that shows up at the end of a map like Guardians. You also don't have to worry about getting your damage reflected along the way. After this one we take Headsman. This is a great quality of life upgrade that speeds up your mapping experience, and it allows you to shorten the time span of any boss encounter by 20%. Last but not least we have Overwhelm. Most weapons starts with 5% base crit. This is too low for any attack build. Usually this isn't a problem since you can just craft crit chance on your weapon and call it a day. However, that's not possible on uniques, and that's why we take this one. And that was basically it for our Ascendancy. Pretty much generic choices for any Slayer build, I would say. Anyway, from here I decided to build a very efficient passive tree that focuses on providing us with as much damage as possible on its own. This is an extremely important detail for budget builds since they don't like to invest into expensive items that solves their damage problem. Anyway, here we have a single medium cluster jewel that adds some powerful AoE notables like Towering Threat and Magnifier. Investing into large cluster jewels with up to 3 notables is out of the question when you are on a budget. But with that being said, we are done with our passive tree. Now let's talk about some items. As a start, our most important item is our weapon, and that is a well-rolled Starforge. Starforge prices have dropped drastically since it was nerfed, arguably more than it should have dropped actually, and we are taking advantage of that since the weapon is still very good overall, providing us with lots of damage and life. Its only downside is its low base crit chance, which as mentioned before is not an issue for us thanks to our Ascendancy. Our next item is Carcass Jack. This amazing chest provides us with a decent amount of life, resistances, and lots of AoE and area damage. It should be noted that you only need a single 6-link item in this build. It should be either this one or your Starforge. Our next item is Devoto's Devotion. This helm provides us with 20% increased movement speed, which is the main reason why we are using it. We also get lots of dex and attack speed, which is a nice thing to have even although we have lots of them already. Anyway, our next item is a rare amulet with life, crit multi, some resistances, and maybe flat fizz if possible. Just make sure that your amulet has one empty prefix so that you can craft -3 to the total mana cost of channeling skills, otherwise this build is not going to work. Once you are done, make sure to anoint Vanquisher on your amulet for that extra damage boost against bosses. Our next item is a pair of boots with life, movement speed, and lots of resistances. Believe it or not, I have only paid 30 chaos for this one. However, since its real price is close to 1 Exalt, I decided to count it as such while calculating the price of this build. You can generally find lots of cheap boots with many good stats if you are willing to wait and look on the market long enough. From here we have a rare ring with life and Assassin's Mark curse on hit. I know that rings with Assassin's Mark can get expensive sometimes, however, they are one of the cheapest ways to get double million digit damage in this game with minimum investment, especially now that Diamond Flask got nerfed. Just make sure to craft -3 to total mana cost of channeling skills on this one as well. Same thing applies to your other ring, and now with a total of -9 to Cyclone mana cost, you will be able to spend to win without having to worry about resource management. Anyway, this one also have life, flat fizz, and lots of strength if possible. Strength is something you should look forward for, only if the item has all of your essential mods beforehand. Our next item is a rare belt with lots of life and resistances. It's very easy to get resistances on belts, so you should take advantage of that to complement whatever is missing once you are done getting the rest of your items first. Last but not least we have Null and Void unique gloves. I was capped on resistances at this point, and thus I decided to utilize this slot to get this one fun item that increases the speed of our build. This one gives us Rampage. Rampage gives you increased damage and movement speed the more enemies you kill in quick succession. This is particularly good for skills like Cyclone since it allows you to kill enemies while moving at the same time. And with that we are basically done with our items. Now let's talk about gems that goes inside of them. For our main 6 link we have Cyclone, Brutality, Impale, Close Combat Support, Infuse the Channeling, and Pulverize. Our next setup contains some essential auras like Pride, Herald of Purity, Dread Banner, and level 3 Enlighten. Next we have a movement skill setup. It begins with Leap Slam, then Faster Attacks, then Fortify, and Life Tap support to mitigate its mana cost. Last but not least we have few standalone gems like Blood and Sand, level 1 Precision, and 1 Golem of your choice. If you are not capped on your hit chance, then you might want to invest into Ice Golem until you reach 3000 accuracy. And that was basically it for your gems. And now for jewels, we have a Watcher's Eye with +2 Impale while affected by Pride. You should consider going for this one last. It's generally well known that +2 Impale on a Watcher's Eye is the best standalone mod you can ever have. This means that resellability will always be a choice, so don't hesitate to invest into one once you can afford it. But aside from Watcher's Eye, any remaining jewel socket you have left should be filled with a normal rare jewel like this one. Life comes first as always, then attack speed, and then as many crit modifiers as possible. Now for Bandit's quest, we are going to help Alira as usual. And for Pantheons, the Soul of Lunaris is great here since it increases our movement speed while mapping. For the miners though, feel free to pick whatever one you like, doesn't really matter a lot. And yes, that was basically it for our budget Cycloner. If you guys have enjoyed this video, then you know what to do, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name is Phoenix and I will see you all in the next video.
Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Exile, do something!
Do this just yet.